Hello and welcome to the Alternative Art School with me, Kate Field, artist, teacher and speaker, and passionate about helping you find your creative spirit. In today's Doodle Club, because it's Monday, we're going to be making little journals where we can put ideas and thoughts and all sorts of things like that. I hope you are well, and welcome to those who are new, and welcome back to those of you who have been with me since the beginning. I really do hope you are well, and let's get on with the tutorial. So in this week's tutorial, we're going to be making little books that you can use for art journaling, for writing, for putting down ideas, and for just the absolute pleasure of making a little book. And I love making these as little gifts, very thoughtful, but also I think that just the process of adding bits of poetry, bits of prose, perhaps prayers, and things like that can be very comforting when times are difficult. So, welcome to Doodle Club, and we're going to make mini art journals. So I'm going to start with the back cover. I've got my paints here. I'm going to keep to these colours, probably for the whole journal. And I'm going to use bits of cardboard to put the acrylic paint on. Now, one of the mistakes that beginners often make is to just add too much water. I'm not adding any water at all. So I'm just going to go straight in. I'm going to start with yellow. I have said in previous tutorials that if you want to put yellow in your work, if you can, put it in first because it's so easily corrupted with other colours. So I'm just sort of pushing the paint around, and again, this is absolutely perfect if you're a beginner, because what we're doing is we're just making marks. We're not thinking about it too much. I'm just putting the yellow on to the page. Just going to move that across here. I've just put a bit of masking tape there because I do want to just try and keep that clean. Just putting the yellow on in sort of just some of the areas. And again, where I'm using the cardboard, I'm going to get sort of marks of the cardboard coming through a little bit, and that's quite nice. You don't need to have fancy brushes. And I'm using a very inexpensive acrylic paint. And you could use poster paint as well, actually, for this. And because we're not adding any water, it's going to dry really quickly. So I'm just going to put that there. Just going to pick up another piece. And this time I'm going to pick up the blue. Again, just using my bit of cardboard. And this is the cover, so there's not going to be a lot of words on this bit. And like I said before, there are lots of different ways that you can put words into your journal. You can paint them, write them. You can type them up and then cut them out. I'm going to do a mixture of all of those. I've just added a tiny bit of white with this blue. Again, just just scraping it across the paper. And yeah, it will look scrappy and messy to begin with, because all art does. Every single piece of art that has ever been produced, I would say, has gone through a messy stage. And sadly, that's when a lot of people give up. Don't give up on the messy stage. Okay, I'm just going to move across here. Scraping that. So this is going to be the background for the designs and patterns that we're going to use. So you can use whatever colours you want, but I would really recommend that you keep your palette minimum. Don't try and put too many colours on the same page, especially if you're a beginner. Obviously, if you know what you're doing, then you go ahead and do what you like. But if you are a beginner, then you know, give yourself time to develop your art, because it takes practice. There is no getting away from it, unfortunately. And again, I've spoken about this before, but I don't really think that talent has a lot to do with anything, to be honest. Yeah, we may have a slight advantage if we do have a talent, but it's only the amount of effort and work and hours that you put in that is really going to make the difference. On anything, really, whether that's playing a musical instrument or doing sport. That's and certainly with art. So again, I've just covering this, and because I'm not using any water, it's not going to take very long to dry. Again, very messy stage, but that is okay. Now, like I said, this journal is going to be all about circles, and so I'm going to be using some stencils. But if you haven't got stencils, then you can just create your own circles, or you can create your own stencils. I have got a tutorial on making your own stencils, and I will quite often use my own. But I'm just going to lay my stencil on there. Now, sometimes I will use a sponge, natural sponge, or a synthetic sponge. And sometimes, oh, where's it gone? Here it is. I will use a brush, stenciling brush. Makeup brushes are very good as well. They're fun to use. So let's just do a little bit on here. Now, one of the little secrets of doing a successful stencil is not to put too much paint on your sponge. It's very much a kind of less is more. Let's just move that there. And I'm just going to put a little bit in this corner. Like that. And then I'm just going to put a little bit down here. Like that. And again, a little bit over here. Then if I feel that I need to have a little bit more, I can just add a little bit more. So, got those. And I'm now going to switch to my other circles. I haven't washed this. The colours will kind of start to blend, which gives a really good effect. Just going to put those on here. Lift that up. Again, it doesn't matter if it goes a bit messy. Just going to put a little one down here as well, like that. So this is coming together. Again, it still looks very, very messy, but that is okay. So still staying with the cover, back and front cover, I'm now going to use just a bit of tubing, toilet roll tube, and I'm just dipping that into the paint, and then we're just going to create a mark on there, which very underrated, I think. Toilet rolls, could use them for all sorts of things. Right, let's just do a few more of those. Just sort of adding that. And if I do an element in one section, then I like to repeat it somewhere else. And these sorts of elements, these circles, these mark makings, are going to be repeated throughout the whole journal. And that's what will give it some cohesion, and it just makes it look fun. But please don't worry if everything looks a mess to begin with. And I know I go on about that, but I know that in my years and years of teaching, persuading students to fish their work out of the bin because they've thrown it away because they don't like it. And it was, oh my gosh, it happened all the time, all the time. I'm just going to change. I'll leave that one because I will go back with that as the pink, but I just want to pick up some yellow, I think. I had a lovely comment on a tutorial last week, I think, when someone said that I should create a t-shirt with we should, you know, just keep playing. I love that. It's great. I do absolutely love reading your comments, so thank you for those who take time to write a comment. I do read every single one. They're oh, just wonderful. What a fantastic community we have here. So having a lot of fun with this. I'm going to leave that to dry completely, which won't take long, about 20 minutes or so. And then we're going to go into the rest of the book and see what we do. And then we will come back to this and you'll see how I finish it off at the end. Now, I like to put my decorations and paintings and drawings onto my journals after I've made them, but you don't have to. And so while I'm leaving that one to dry, I'm just going to use this piece here, and I'm going to start to just put some marks over it. Again, just using my cardboard roll, my toilet roll here. And things are going to get quite messy on this bit. But I wanted to show you this because there is no right or wrong way to do things. And in my classes, when I'm teaching my students, I really stress this because I don't want them to just blindly copy what I'm doing. I want them to work things out themselves. And that's what I'd like you to do as well. So I'm just using my bits of cardboard and the cardboard roll. I'm using the same colours. I'm just scraping the paint over the whole section. And again, your journal can be whatever size you want. There's no right or wrong size for the journal. It's whatever suits you. Again, this is really important. And it's another reason why I like to make my own, because standard journals are going to be A5 or A4, 6x9, or those sorts of standard sizes, where actually I might want to do something that's a different size. So by making my own, I can do that. Again, just sort of scraping this across. Now, when this gets put into the journal, I might decide that this is actually a front cover, and so that'd be the back and the front, or it might be some of the pages in between. At this point, I'm not sure. So at the end of the tutorial, I'll show you what I end up doing. But again, I'm just keeping these colours, adding a bit of white, seeing what that looks like. And when this does dry, that is when I will start to put the words and phrases, poems, that kind of thing into it. And the lovely thing about acrylic is that if you don't like something, you just go over it. It's hugely gratifying. If you think, oh goodness me, I don't like that. You just have fun playing with it. That word again, isn't it? So some of you might know that I have written a book called The Art of Play. I've spent about a year writing it. Really enjoyed writing it. Based on my years of teaching and working with children, young people and adults. And it's just about how play can help free us up to help build our creativity. So if you're interested in the book, it would be it's in the description. I'll pop it in there. So again, I'm just going to leave that one to dry because I will be doing the back as well. But you can see it's the same colour palette. Now I'm just going to go and get the other one. It's not quite dry yet. Let's just slide that one up that way. Let's just bring this one in as well. And then straight away you can see that there is a cohesion between these because I've used the same colours. Different mark making, same colours. And I'm just going to do another one, just again, so you get this idea of what you can do and the absolute joy, really, of trying things out. Again, I'm just putting a bit on here. I haven't put a background colour on this one. Doesn't matter if it goes smudgy. Not bothered about that. Just want to get this idea of a bit of energy really going through with these dots. And I'm just going to pick up that bit of pink. I have done a tutorial on stencils, which is not quite so messy. I've done a few on stencils actually, so you might want to check that out if you haven't already. I think they're quite underrated actually, and I think that people think that they're restrictive. Personally, I think you can get some fantastic ideas and textures, especially when we really start to layer. I'm just going to change this to another brush because I want to use some yellow, and like I said, the yellow will not be happy. That's just a bit of yellow on there. Let's grab this one here. Like that. Just gonna again pick up this and holding that down just with my other hand, like that, rubbing and lifting that up. And again, I'm just going to put a bit repeated element in that one, like that. Again, I shall leave that one to dry. And then I'm just going to do this last sheet of paper just because there was one lying around, so I thought, oh, I could do that. I'm just going to use the same stencil and just sort of play with layering a different colour over the top. Seeing that kind of energy really that makes. And I'm hoping that you're getting some ideas of things that you could do with your journals, with your artwork. Again, sticking with the same stencil. And you could have this as a background paper for collage. That kind of thing. I'm not liking that. I'm going to leave that one. Again, I will be doing things on the back, but these need to be left to dry. So this one is dry now. I'm just going to open it up. Let's just turn that bit over. So that's our front and back cover. I'm just going to move some things out of the way. And I've started to put some ideas together. The theme is going to be joy. And what I'm now going to do is to start to write some little poems and ideas in. You see this middle bit hasn't been done yet. And I'm going to start to add some more bits to it. So let's just open this bit up. Now I have used a hole punch to create little gaps in, so I quite like that, but obviously you do whatever you want. So I'm going to introduce two more colours, this kind of sparkly lime green and bright orange, but I'm going to use them quite sparsely. I'm going to keep my theme of these colours here, the light blue, the yellow and the magenta. They're going to be my dominant colours, and we're going to do the same techniques on the next few pages. And I've also made another one from those other sheets that I did, so I'll be working on them both at the same time. I'm going to continue to use bits of cardboard, this time from an egg carton, and I've put these little dots here because they were in that, so I'm going to keep that space there. I've put some white paper just underneath here. I would normally put newspaper, but that can be a little bit distracting on the camera, just to protect the other pages. And I'm going to go straight in with my yellow. Again, I'm using my bit of cardboard, but you could use a brush or a sponge. Perhaps try different things. Going across the double page, I'm going to go round that shape. This again, I haven't used any water. This is just the paint directly from the tube, and just putting that yellow fully on the background like that. And then I'm just going to get another piece, do the same for the pink. Again, I'm going to go around that. That was just a leftover bit. That's fine. Just a bit that escaped. I'm just going to start to mix and blend as the two meet. Again, I'm just letting the paint go onto the page. Move that over there just a little bit, like that. and right to the edges. And now I'm just going to turn my cardboard around, put a bit of white, and I'm just going to put some blobs of white onto there, which I'm then just going to scrape a little bit. Again, it's just to give it a little bit of background texture, like that. Again, I'm going to do this all the way. I am going to do over this side, but I just want to show you what I'm going to do with this. This is my egg carton into the blue, and I'm just going to make some marks, which is a bit of an echo of the dots that I used that I made with a stencil earlier. Again, I'm going to leave some spaces because that's where I'm going to do some words. Let's just do this way around here. Again, just using bits of cardboard. And the lovely thing about using bits of cardboard, different sorts of cardboard will give different marks, and I like that. I like seeing what we can do. And I do like that there. And again, on this side, I'm going to do a little bit of the stencils, but this time I'm just going to use my stars. I'm going to pop that down like that. I'm just going to get my sponge. A little bit of white. This is just synthetic sponge. Oh, that was not intended. Let's just do that. And I'm just going to dab some stars over this bit of the blue. Just sort of lift that one up. They're just there, so they kind of like fade, which I do quite like. I'm just going to do a few over here as well. That's fine. That's a bit messy. That's okay. Thinking about what I'm going to do there, and I think this is where I'm going to do my little blast of orange. Now this is a damp brush, so I made it wet and then I've just used a tissue so that it's not completely wet, and I'm just going to do this semicircle orange so it just sort of pops out, and I need to do a couple of coats, so I'm just going to leave that to dry, and then I'll do another one. And then I'm just going to pick up this orange again and see. I always picked up a bit of blue on that one, but that's all right. Just going to clean that brush. So if you've got marks like I've done there, and you don't like those, then you just get your rag or a tissue and you can just lift off some of the paint, leave it to dry for a few minutes, and then just go over it again. So again, mistakes are an absolute essential part of creating art. And I really wanted my tutorials to be true. I wanted you to see the mistakes that I make and how I resolve them, because I think that it's more authentic. Just doing that. Just using, again, this is quite a dry brush. Just putting in some of this pink on the edges. Like this. But I do want to pick out that orange, but I'm just going to leave that bit to dry. So thinking about what we're going to write in the journal, this is going to be a celebration of joy. We're in November, it's been foggy for 2 days here, and I'm thinking I need some joy in my life, and I have a lot of joy in my life, and stuff happens. As some of you may know, we had a loss in the family very, very recently, and we are still reeling from that. But there is still joy to be found. And for me, the joy is in the strength and love of my family and my friends. But it's also all around us when we really look. And the world can seem a very dark and sad place. And I feel that sometimes we need to be reminded of the joy. So this is what this journal is going to be about. It's going to be all about joy. So loads of words are going to be put over these pages. I'm going to leave this one to dry, and we're going to go back to the other one. So this is the one that was made with the separate pieces. I'm just going to open them all out like this. So the three pieces stitched together down the middle, and then the bits folded in like that and like that, and that one and that one folded, and then that one folded, and I've just cut that. Yeah, I've just got that there. So that was cut, that was there, and I just cut that bit off. So this is my new book, and I don't always start at the beginning. Sometimes it's quite nice to start in the middle. And this is quite often where I like to do a shape, and that's what I'm going to do now. So I'm just going to take my scissors. Sometimes I will use a stencil and I'll measure things very carefully, but this I want to be quite organic. So I am just going to cut into this shape like this. I'm going to keep that piece because I quite like it. And I'm going to do another shape over this side. Again, quite organic, because I think that matches the mood, because this is also going to be about joyfulness and celebration. And that's my centre bit of my book, which I'm going to open out. And I like to use these as guidelines for the writing, because I think that can be really nice. So I'm just going to turn this round, and I'm going to use this line here to write a little poem, or a little start of a poem, I think. I'm going to use my ink pen. This has got ox blood ink in it. Very, very deep red, which I really like. I think it works well. And I think I'm going to do I'm just trying to find my little quiet, simple things. So this is the start of a little haiku that I wrote the other day. So it's about candles lighting the room. Candles light the room. So you can see I'm just sort of following the contour of that. Now I'm just going to take that away, and then I'm going to carry on. Joy dances in quiet hearts. Just going to bring that one down like that, and then shadows drift away. Now, I like writing little bits of prose and little haikus and things like this, but I also have a poem anthology, poetry anthology, so I will look at things and be inspired by those. So this is going to be full of candles, so that's going to be my idea for this. So the poems on here are going to be about candles and candlelight and things like that. I'm going to turn this one round and I'm just going to do another one across there. So this one is Candlelight's Soft Warmth. Moving that one down. Flickers like a whispered song. And I have to concentrate on that because when I'm writing and talking at the same time, that's when I make mistakes. Like a whispered song. But you can see how this could work, and you can do this in your own way. And I think it's one of those things that these little books can make beautiful gifts, but also like a gift to yourself. They're just really lovely to do. So I've got those coming out like this, and now I'm going to start to put together some candles, and I'm going to do these in using collage. So I keep a lot of my collage papers. These were from an experiment that I did with the gel plate and some leaves. These are just kind of like the leftover bits that didn't go very well. And then I did some stars and things like that. And so these are the bits that I'm using to create my candles. So I'm just sort of cutting out the shapes. This is very, very thin newsprint paper, so it's perfect for collage. Just using an ordinary glue stick, cutting out the shape of the candles, just oblong shapes, and then just like a little flicker of a flame that I'll then stick. I'll just move that one out of the way. I get very, very sticky with these. Then you just pop those on there. I usually have a little piece of paper to one side that I will use. I'll just put those on there. So they're on like this, and then using my ink pen again, I was going to draw just some lines into the flames like this, and maybe go around the edge. Oh, I'm running out of ink. And you could use black here if you wanted to, like a black biro or a Fineliner pen. It just gives a different sort of aspect to your journal page. And you could do some lines and patterns on here as well. I might just sort of pick up the shapes that I've got on this bit of collage paper where the stencil was. Quite like that. So playing around with ideas on this shape, on this double page, and when you close it you can then open it up like that. So again, it sort of gives you another idea of what you could do. I'm going to leave this space here for another poem, and I might print out some poems and stick those in. That can be really nice, and little phrases and all sorts of things like that. Now the last thing I want to do to show you is just how to put in the ribbon, just so that you can tie it all up. And so what I've done, turn that over, is I'm going to put in 2 slits and then fold the fabric. I've just pulled that through, pulled the ribbon through there, And again, I had a bit of red velvet for that one, which was just gorgeous. And I've got a little bit of turquoise silk that I'm going to put for this one and the other one when it's dry. So I've started to add a few more lines of poetry, and then with this centerpiece I've started to put the candles together and gathering a few more ideas. And then on this one I thought I would do some sort of kind of a bit more surreal leaves in a sort of like turquoisey blue. And I did a tutorial on making these little elements a couple of weeks ago, I think. So you could check that out. And again, I'm just putting together sort of thoughts and ideas of what I might do. And with this one, I wanted to kind of capture this idea of hope stirring in the darkness, which is what I wanted to do here. And it's that kind of like the seed waiting to come out. So I think I might kind of play around with an idea of that as well. Now, I was going to put some turquoise silk as my ribbon, but while I was rummaging through, I found some turquoise velvet. So that's what I'm going to do here. So the front, I've just got a light. So when it's all wrapped up, it would just say a light, and then shines in the dark like that. And then I've got my first little poem. Light shines in the dark, quiet as a whispered prayer. Hope breathes soft and low. And this I'm just going to turn into a leaf. It looks a little bit like a fish actually, but the idea is that it is a leaf. It's that kind of idea of hope is there, that light shining in the darkness. Over the next few weeks I will add to this one. I quite like it. I particularly like this bit in the middle. I'm liking how that works together, and I'll press down on the folds. I usually just put it under a whole pile of books. and I will just show you the other one, which again is I'm still working on. Where is it? Oh, here we go. So this is my centerpiece. They will be folded over like that. And I've got my messages of joy. Folding that over like that. And these ones just sort of waiting for a little bit more. I'll fold those over like that, and this will be my messages of joy. I do hope you've enjoyed that tutorial, that you've got lots of ideas, and that you are going to make your own wonderful mini journal. And if you'd like to find out more and learn more, you can watch my tutorials every Monday and Friday. I forgot when I was doing it at that point. Or you can watch this one or this one. And if you haven't liked and subscribed, that would be good. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.